Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Peugeot 308 1.6 active blue, I imagine, or I'm led to believe. Very handsome looking car, first one we've ever had. Finished in a really lovely dark metallic blue. It looks almost black, fantastic. So it's going to suddenly start to rain, so I'm going to do this as quick as I can. Black clouds coming over and it's just about to deposit on us, but it is in lovely condition in here. Just externally, you've got a couple of little car parking dinks on that door there. Obviously we have to take into account the age and mileage of the car, but it is in wonderful condition. So this is a bit quicker than normal because I want to do this just before the rain gets too heavy. The bodywork is, so apart from those two little dinks, absolutely lovely. It's about 3 times the speed I normally do this, so I do apologise. Externally, it's very, very nice indeed. Coming to the boot, huge boot, and again, it's just been kept absolutely amazingly. Coming to the back now, again, almost defies belief. It looks like no one's ever sat on the back, but the chap had this covered in a blanket. Looks like the seats have never ever really been sat on. Coming to the front, again, all very clean and tidy. The passenger seat there again looks absolutely pristine. So finally come to the driver's side, again wonderfully clean. The driver's seat itself in very, very good condition. So inside the car now, just managed to beat the rain coming, and it's in just, it's an incredible condition in here. Sat nav, you can see they're working exactly as it should. It really is a credit to the way the chaps kept this car. And then just pan in there for you, hopefully you can see 81,717 miles, and there are no warning lights at all whilst the engine's running. But so again, do apologise for rushing around outside, it was just to beat the rain. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is something a bit new to me. This is a Peugeot 308, it's a 1.6 diesel, and I believe it's referred to as the active blue model. This particular car is registered, bear with me a second, KN64YFY, and mileage showing currently is 81,711. The reason we do these videos is very simple. It's basically, we just want to make sure that if anyone is looking at any of our cars online, they actually get to see the cars we're advertising in operation. And we feel it's really important as a garage to do this, because we know, to our cost unfortunately, just how frustrating it can be to go and travel distance to go and see a car, only to get there and find out when you get there it's got a fundamental issue that we should much rather known about before setting off. So that's why we do it. It's also done on these very quiet country roads close to our premises. This actually forms part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on, and the reason we choose to do it on this route is obvious. It's so that it'll be representative of what you feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So as you know from the walk around section, this obviously is coming as a part exchange to us, and this is my, well, that's it, it'd be a lie to say it's my first drive. It's my second drive in a Peugeot 308, because my first drive was when the chap came to check it and to drive it to make sure it drove well, and I have to say, very pleasantly surprised. Engine obviously starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and the temperature gauge is running as a third, which I believe is where it's meant to be. But these little Peugeot diesels have always been good, in the sense that they're very, very, very quiet and refined. You'd be very hard pressed to believe you're actually driving a diesel. It's that quiet, but it sounds absolutely perfect in terms of kind of how they should sound. Clutch on the car, bite point exactly where it's meant to be according to Mr. Google, but it's lovely and smooth in its actuation, all feels really good. Gearbox, 6-speed box, and a far cry from the old Peugeot gearboxes, which used to be interesting to say the least. It's still got some of their hallmarks, which I actually quite like, but it's not as long. It's quite short in throw. It's quite snappy. It's very precise. There's not a lot of movement in the actual when you're in the gear. In the old Peugeots, it'd be somewhere in there you'd find a gear. In the ones I used to drive, but this seems really good. Very, very pleasant box to use. Steering of the car, steering and ride and handling has always been Peugeot's forte, of course. They always make a nice dynamic car, and this seems to sort of keep that reputation intact because the steering's quick, it's precise, it's accurate. It's like a lot of modern power steering systems that generally use sort of electric motors to sort of do them. It doesn't have huge amounts of feel, but what it does give you is, it's very accurate what it does, and it works with the chassis brilliantly well. There's no vibrations. It tracks absolutely dead straight, and certainly up to the legal limit. I can't feel any sort of tremors through the steering wheel at all. But and it feels very, very tight on the road. Chassis of the car, as I said, this is where Peugeot have always been good. It offers you a very, very comfortable ride. Only the sharpest of bumps it really kind of registers with you, but even those it sort of shrugs aside better than most other cars. But what it's really good at is, when you go through corners like the one in front, it's got a dynamic edge to it. So when you turn in, not a lot of body movement, the car holds its line really nicely, and it just absolutely eats up the corners. What I'm looking for on road test is just any signs of any sort of noises from suspension, sort of clonking or knocking noises, and there's absolutely nothing at all. It drives as tight as a drum. It comes as no surprise given the chap, he's particularly fussy about his cars. He readily admits that, and it's nice to see actually, because it's, whoever gets the car next will be benefiting from kind of his hard work, but all feels very good. I'm going to leave braking a little bit late into this corner so I can just check the brakes a second. Yeah, it's a good solid brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is that they should be powerful, but also the fact that they shouldn't have any kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, and there is nothing at all. So coming inside, it really is in amazing condition in here. And again, he did say he was particularly fussy. The rear seats, as I mentioned in the walk-around video, hopefully, was covered in a blanket that don't look as ever really been sat in. It feels pretty much as new in here. And I have to say, that's a bit of a testament to how far Peugeot's build quality's come, because there's no obvious sort of squeaks or rattles in here. It feels solid. It's nicely presented. Obviously, you've got sat-nav system all working exactly as it should. Display in front's really nice. Display, the information's nicely presented. I like the digital speedo in the middle, because I'm used to it on our Hondas where they're up nice and high, and it is up high because the binnacle's set above the steering wheel. And I think that's a really good design feature on this car and some of the Hondas we sell. The steering wheel feels great in hand, sort of small in diameter, feels like new to hold as well. But this isn't your normal average Peugeot 308. It's far better than most, in my opinion, certainly taking into consideration the age and mileage of the car. But it drives perfectly, can't fault it in any way. If you've got any questions at all, don't hesitate, do give us a call.